So it's one of the things that I think, residents have talked about recently. And on the flip side, you want to get residents and voters more engaged in the process. And you talk about people talking about things on Facebook and without really necessarily some of the background knowledge. So what do you
Sure.
think is a way that you can get residents more involved, more people turning out to the town meeting, more people coming out to vote? What's something you can do to increase participation?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think something that the town really needs to focus on is engagement. Um, I thought a lot about that same issue, that same question. And one of the things that struck me early on was if I want to know what happened recently in the town, and then I look for the Good Morning Wilton article, which is great. Compliments to you. But is that really how we should know what's going on at town? Because it's hard to find anything at town. The website's hard to navigate. You can't really find stuff. You guys do a great job, but is that our expectation? What if you decide you're going to move and take Good Morning with? Then what? Then where are we? You know what I mean? And I saw the bill that was proposed to help fund local news agencies. Like, yeah, I do my research too, so I
Yeah.
read your letter. I would have agreed with. We
Yeah.
could talk another side topic. I'm interested to understand why it didn't pass. It was interesting because I looked at the voting and it was, no by all Republicans and yes by all Democrats, which as a Republican, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you support that? But then it failed anyway. So it's like, well, I guess it didn't matter. We could talk about that later. But in all, I mean, seriously though, that's part, I mean, you should, because you are doing us a public benefit. And again, it goes to that shouldn't be what you are doing. Like we shouldn't have to rely on Good Morning Wilton to find out what's going on in town. And I know people will say, well, if you look at this email and look at these websites over here, and there's all these different places. So what I think, one of the things I think we should do, I think we should have a town app personally. I mean, there's app for everything. There's a, and it's not like you have to develop them all yourself. If you look at the town of Rye, they have a great app. All the information's there. You can opt in, you can opt out. But we have so many events going on. And on Facebook a little while ago, somebody said, "Oh, they're doing this in Ridgefield. They're having food trucks and all this great stuff." Somebody responded, "Oh, we have that in Shanks Island this weekend." But they just didn't know. Now, it doesn't mean if there's an app, everybody's going to know, but that's part of it. And I know you guys put out a calendar and it's great, but the town, like with an app that's easy, right? We can have a calendar, all the different things on there, all the dates, meetings, and it's not that hard, and it helps with the connectivity. Because I think we need to do that. Talking about elections, right? I'm running for board of selectmen. The turnout in this election historically is like 14%. It's hardly anything, and then it goes beyond, and I could talk forever, but if you look at who's voting, the people that voting is not the biggest block of the population. And it's not the people who are, we say we moved here for the schools, we're here for the schools, but the people that are voting, their kids are already gone. They have different wants and desires and needs than I think we need to address that issue. We've got a great town. We've got so many great things. And when you read something like I did on Facebook with somebody just saying, hey, what's great about Wilton? You read that, you're like, this is a great town. We're focusing on the negative issues because that's what we're trying to address, but we can't lose sight of the bigger picture that we have a great town. We're lucky to live here, right? I mean, it's beautiful. We're close to I don't have to tell you all the great reasons to live here, but we have so many great things going for us. Yes, we need to fix and address these issues, if you will, these smaller issues, accounting issues. I shouldn't say smaller, but issues in town hall, but we need to focus on the bigger picture and say, hey, let's continue. How do we maintain what we have? Certainly keep making it better, but we're doing well. Let's keep doing better. We need more people to get involved. We're representative government. The beauty of a town like Wilton is it's easy to get involved. I saw somebody saying something about the same people, for their egos being on these boards. Like I've tried, that's not true because in the last year, I can tell you how hard it is to get people to serve. And the reason why it's the same people, because they're the only people who will step up and do it.
Yep.
So